In the ancient village of Umuka, where mist-shrouded mountains touched the sky and ancestral spirits walked among the living, lived a young woman named Adana. Her beauty was legendary throughout the 7 neighboring villages. Her laugh could make flowers bloom, and her eyes held the warmth of the afternoon sun. Unlike many in Umuka, Adana had been blessed with 2 close friends since childhood: Kioma, whose heart was as pure as morning dew, and Inkiruka, whose soul harbored shadows deeper than the village well. The 3 had grown up together, but as the years passed, Inkiruka's bitterness grew like poison ivy. While Kioma celebrated every small joy in Adana's life, Inkiruka's eyes would darken with each of her friend's successes. She consulted with dangerous forces in secret, visiting the Forbidden Grove where dark magic practitioners were said to gather. When news spread that Adana was to marry Oluwaseun, the most eligible young man in Umuka, the village erupted in celebration. Oluwaseun was not just handsome, his shoulders broad from farming and his smile bright enough to rival the stars, but he was also kind. He would often help the elderly with their heavy loads and teach the village children how to carve wooden figurines. The wedding ceremony was a spectacle that would be talked about for generations. Palm wine flowed like river water, and the aroma of jollof rice and pounded yam filled the air. The celebration lasted from sunrise to sunset, with dancers from 3 villages performing their best moves. Even the village elders agreed they had never seen such a joyous occasion. As the festivities wound down and gifts were presented, the last package caught everyone's attention. It was wrapped in expensive golden cloth from Lagos, tied with red and white strings, colors associated with both love and warning in their culture. No one seemed to know who had brought it. "A mirror," Adana exclaimed as she unwrapped it, her voice echoing with delight. The mirror was unlike anything seen in Umuka before. Tall as a man, with a frame carved with mysterious symbols that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. Oluwaseun helped mount it in their new home, a compound his father had helped him build at the edge of the village, where the forest began. That night, as Oluwaseun slept, Adana heard singing. Not the usual night sounds of the village, this was different, a melody that seemed to weave itself from shadows. Following the sound, she found herself standing before the mirror. Instead of her reflection, she saw a figure that made her blood freeze, a creature with twisted horns like a ram's, skin dark as midnight, and eyes that glowed like hot coals. Its fingers were long and gnarled, like roots of an ancient, cursed tree. Adana's scream woke the entire compound. When Oluwaseun rushed to her, the mirror showed only their normal reflections, but Adana knew what she had seen. There was something in there, she insisted, trembling, something not of this world. The next day, Adana confided in Kioma, who suggested they visit Mama Ezine, the village's most respected diviner. But before they could go, strange things began happening in the compound. Clothes would be found scattered and torn, food would rot overnight, and mysterious scratches appeared on their walls. Each night, the entity in the mirror grew bolder. It would call to Adana when she was alone, speaking in voices that sounded like her dead relatives. Sometimes she would appear as a beautiful woman, offering her powers and riches if she would leave Oluwaseun. Other times, it would show her terrifying visions of future tragedies. Oluwaseun began to worry about his wife's mental health. He couldn't see what she saw in the mirror, and her increasing fear was affecting their marriage. He suggested removing the mirror, but every time they tried, inexplicable accidents would occur. Tools would break, ropes would snap, and once, Oluwaseun's helper was struck with a mysterious fever that lasted 3 days. Unknown to everyone, Nkiruka was behind it all. She had struck a deal with a powerful dark spirit called Ekwensu, trading pieces of her own soul for the power to torment Adana through the cursed mirror. Each night, as the village slept, Nkiruka would transform into the horrifying creature in the mirror, her jealousy and hatred giving her powers that defied the natural order. The situation reached its peak during the New Yam Festival. As the village celebrated, Adana fell into a trance-like state. She walked to her compound, put on her wedding dress as commanded by the mirror's entity, and stood before it. This time, the creature emerged completely, stepping out of the glass, like a nightmare taking physical form. "Your happiness should have been mine," the creature said in Nkiruka's voice, distorted by dark magic. "I was always in your shadow, always second best. Now you will know what it feels like to lose everything." But Nkiruka had underestimated the power of true friendship. Chioma, who had been secretly following Adana out of concern, witnessed everything. She ran to fetch Mama Ezine, who had long suspected dark forces at work. The old diviner had prepared for this moment, gathering powerful herbs and sacred chalk for 7 days and 7 nights. What followed was an epic spiritual battle that shook Umuka to its foundations. Mama Ezina drew ancient symbols on the ground with her chalk, while chanting incantations that had been passed down through 15 generations of diviners. The skies darkened with unseasonable clouds, and wind whipped through the compound like angry spirits. Nkiruka, still in her monstrous form, fought back with all her dark power. She sent shadows to strangle them and spoke curses that made the earth tremble. But Mama Ezina had one secret weapon. She had brought water from the sacred stream, where Adana, Chioma, and Nkiruka had played as children, water that held memories of their innocent friendship. As Mama Ezine threw the sacred water, Chioma began to sing the song they had all learned as little girls. The water touched Nkiruka, and for a moment her true form was revealed. Not the monster she had become, but the scared, hurt woman she still was inside. In that moment of vulnerability, Mama Ezine's most powerful incantation struck true. The mirror shattered with a sound like 1,000 breaking hearts. As the pieces fell, they showed not reflections, but glimpses of all the moments of friendship that Nkiruka had chosen to forget. Each shard that hit the ground released a piece of the dark spirit's hold on her, until finally she collapsed, human once again, but changed forever. The aftermath brought many changes to Umuka. Nkiruka was not punished as many expected. Instead, following Adana's plea for mercy, she was taken under Mama Ezine's guidance to learn the right path of spiritual power. The old diviner saw in Nkiruka's fall a chance for redemption, knowing that those who have walked in darkness often become the strongest advocates for light. Adana and Oluwaseun's marriage grew stronger through their shared trial. Their compound, once a place of fear, became known as a sanctuary where troubled souls could find peace. Chioma's unwavering loyalty was rewarded when she later married Oluwaseun's younger brother, making the two friends true sisters. The broken mirror pieces were buried at 7 different crossroads, each blessed by Mama Ezine to ensure the dark spirit could never reform. But one small shard was kept and passed down through generations as a reminder that the greatest darkness often comes not from spirits or curses, but from allowing jealousy and bitterness to poison the heart. Years later, when Adana's daughter asked about the small mirror shard kept in a carved box, she would tell this story not as a tale of horror, but as a lesson about the power of friendship, the danger of envy, and the possibility of redemption. In Umuka, they say that on quiet nights, when the moon is full and the wind whispers through the raffia palms, you can still hear the echo of 3 young girls' laughter, from a time before mirrors and magic changed their lives forever. The story became a cautionary tale in Umuka and surrounding villages, told around evening fires to remind young people that true friendship is worth more than all the power in the world, and that sometimes the most dangerous monsters are the ones we create within ourselves. The villagers say that to this day, no one in Umuka accepts mirrors as wedding gifts, and all reflective surfaces are blessed by the village diviner before being brought into a new home. As for the dark spirit Ekwensu, they say it still roams the forests beyond Umuka, seeking new vessels for its power. But as long as the sacred water flows and the old songs are remembered, the village remains protected by something stronger than any dark magic, the unbreakable bonds of true friendship and love. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and comment at the comment section below.